Could I do it in a different way? Could I do 30-minute workouts at home or something like that? Yeah, but it's not the same for me. It's not just about the time that I'm spending at the gym. It's about the time that it gives me back, like the energy it gives me back, the focus it gives me back, the fulfillment, the accomplishment, all that stuff. Like that's a really big piece of it for me, for sure.
I'm accomplishing more than I've ever accomplished. Genuinely, sincerely, focused on the urgent, important, significant things, the high-value activities. Podcasting, coaching, training. My average is 50 a week. Average. There's a lot of seeds we're planting. It's a lot of momentum. That's a lot of growth. That's a lot of improvement. That's a lot. I've even been listening to some of my clips lately that the team's making.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1908, it is Freestyle Friday. We're going to hit you with a 20-minute episode today. So in this 20-minute episode, we're going to freestyle about what's going on and all that happy jazz. Freestyle Friday is an episode where we don't have anything in mind. We just kind of show up and try to have an unscripted conversation about self-improvement, growth, life, love, health, and wealth. We were just talking right before this, and I said this on
my script?
No script. Unscripted.
I have this whole thing written out.
No, you'll have to do it. What is it called when people do, like, not ad-libs? Actors do it.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
What is it called when they do that?
Wait. Improv.
Improvise. Yeah, improvise. Improv. That's what we're doing today. You and I were talking before this, and I did an Instagram story where I put my camera on, and I said, I'm going to swear. I'm going to say a bad word. I'm going to swear, just FYI. And I said, today is effing crazy. Just from the moment I got up till now, it's 11:38. So I've been up since 6, so almost 6 hours. And it's just been mayhem. WhatsApp messages and emails, and it's just crazy. And I am thinking to myself, it's a good overwhelm. It's not a bad overwhelm, but it still feels very constricting. But I just think my relationship now with that constriction it's like, Kev, it's very easy to think that the way the day is the way the week is. And it's very easy to think that the way the day is the way the month has been. And the way the month has been is the way the year will be. And I think we fall into the trap of almost siloing ourselves into the emotions of the moment. And I'm trying to do a better job just in general of not doing that. I was sending a message to a potential client today, and I used to obsess over, I have to say the exact right word at the exact right time and blah, 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 blah. And today I said, I'm just going to say what I think, not from a place of arrogance or not from entitlement. Look, if you don't want to work together, you don't want to work together. I mean, I've already given you the best possible price. I'm giving you all the stuff. This is my truth. If you want to do it, awesome. If not, no worries. Let's party or let's not party. And then let me move on to the next thing. And I'm sure it's going to end up working because, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a very weird time right now where there's so many things swirling around, but all the things that are swirling around are good. And it snowed today for the first time in New Hampshire, and it's beautiful. There you go.
The first snowfall.
Also, I have hot chocolate.
Nice. It also snowed here.
In Massachusetts.
Yes. So we're an hour and a half south of Kev, and it snowed here as well. The first snowfall.
What are you going through?
The same thing you are.
Usually.
I would say the one good thing, there's an upside to every downside. We talk about that all the time. And the one good thing about being overwhelmed, I said this to a team member earlier because she worked an 84-hour week and she's just in it. Making more money than she ever has, that's great. What's the downside? 84-hour week. Okay. Now, what's the upside of an 84-hour week? And I was talking to Kev about this. I said this to her, the people who are grinding and growing toward their goals and dreams will always be the envy of the people sitting around feeling sorry for themselves. And I really do believe that if you want to reach the next level, you're going to have to crawl through the mud to get there. And the mud is feeling overwhelmed, feeling inadequate, being imperfect, not having enough time to do your exact morning routine sometimes. And then there's certain non-negotiables that need to get hit. And I was telling Kev this earlier. I have more to get done than I've ever had to get done. And I said this, I know I'm not the most overwhelmed person in the world. And I'm not the first person to have 50 items on their to-do list and to not have time to do them. However, the good thing about having 50 things on your to-do list is that in the state of all that overwhelm, assuming you can handle it and you have the mentality of how can I do this instead of I can't do this. Because I had that moment of, I can't do this. And then I immediately shifted it to, okay, get up, figure it out, message Kev, you got this, you can do it. And then immediately I shifted into what are the musts? What are the things that have to get done today to where the littlest amount of stuff will burn down? And I think that, and we don't talk about this a ton on the podcast, or if we have, it's been brief, but there's the Pareto principle of 20% of your effort produces 80% of results toward any goal, but it has to be a clear, specific goal. So the example I always give is want, love, hate. So I want to be in great shape. I love weight training. I hate dieting. The 80% for me, or the 20% for me that makes 80% of the difference is dieting. Now, when you're overwhelmed, if you can take that overwhelm and then focus even more on the things that matter most. So for example, this podcast episode, we had considered doing it later tonight instead of today, but we won't miss the podcast. I've had to move other things. I've had to move other things around. My morning didn't go as well as I'd hoped, but we will get this done. And so if you're good at picking what matters to you most, and this is why core values are so important and why clear, specific goals are so important, then you'll get those done. And I'm convinced that if you look at the math of that, I was watching a TED Talk yesterday, and she said that the people, she did this research study, I'll be brief about this, but she did this research study where she surveyed 1,000 Americans. And again, this applies globally, but she just is in America and surveyed 1,000 Americans. Only 6% of them achieved their New Year's resolutions. 94% of them by February, mid-February, had not made any progress, or like canceled not canceled, but just like drifted off track. And she said the three things that made the difference in the people who stayed on track, number one was clear, specific goal. You and I talked yesterday about how you need an exact number. Kev was like, I need to know. I can't just do all I can with all I have like you. I need to know an exact number. That. And then number two was they know their exact 10 out of 10s, what she calls. They don't run around doing ones and twos. They focus on the 10 out of 10. So for example, if you want to build muscle, the 10 out of 10 is weight training. It just is. You can still run, you can still do cardio, you can still warm up, and you can still sleep well. But the 10 out of 10 is weight training for specifically building muscle. If your goal is to do a marathon, the 10 out of 10 is not weight training. Don't weight train. Certainly don't weight train at the expense of running. And so one of the reasons why I think I am annoyed with myself is because I try to do too many things well. And it gives me too many 10s out of 10s. And that's what the problem is with holistic is I'm doing a 5K over the summer. I want to be a well-rounded athlete. I want to be strong, and I want to be good cardio. And we talked about the power of the and. The problem is that when you have 10 goals, now you have 10 times 3, you have 30 priorities that need to get done basically every day if you want to ignite the compound effect. And that's just a way to hate yourself, basically. So you got to be really careful. And I have to be really careful. But the other piece of it, too, is if you really want to reach your potential, you're going to have to redline every now and then.
Yeah, it's hard. The whole thing is a challenge. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, because I told you this, like I've been very consistent with mobility. I do mobility, I don't know. Out of the last 30 days, I've probably done it 28, 27, whatever that percentage is. But it's not like I'm doing different stuff every day. And it's not like I'm doing any more than I have to. I don't accidentally do more mobility than I'm supposed to. Ever. Yeah. I'm literally doing it to check the box. And I'm trying to improve as I go. But improving as I go for me is not investing more time in it. I'm going to do 20 minutes. That's what I'm doing. in this season of life. The gym is essentially 45 minutes of weight training. I listened to a book on the way there. I listened to a book on the way back. So that's cool. Like, let me make sure that I'm learning in the way. And weight training is super grounding for me, and it helps with self-worth and self-belief and stress management and all that stuff. Start the day with consistency. So, but like, I'm pretty much doing the same thing. Shoulder day is the same thing. Chest day is the same thing. Back day is essentially the same thing. Do I occasionally switch up exercises? Yeah, but it's very much, these are the 5 things. There's no buffet. There's really no buffet anywhere in my life right now. These are the 5 things. You're going to eat the same thing, hypothetically, in this. Food, same thing. I'm essentially eating the same thing every week. And I'm not saying this is what you should be doing. I'm somebody who, I don't require a ton of variety. So for me, this works really well. And it helps me focus on, I know exactly what I'm doing. There's no, well, what am I going to do when I go to the gym? Let me really plan out my workout. I'd rather just go and do the same shit because I'm getting results. If I wasn't getting results, that would be a different story. Would I get better results if I went in a different direction? Yes. But fitness is not the 10 out of 10. Fitness is the 8 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And the 8 is very important. But all of the behaviors under the 8 are not going to be more than a 10. They're going to be 8 and less. It's kind of how I'm looking at it now.
Yin and yang, order and chaos. If you've ever seen the yin and yang symbol, it's supposed to represent masculine and feminine, order and chaos. And what Kevin was just describing there is you have a lot of order in certain things. You've simplified the fundamentals so much that you can handle the chaos of having 64 podcasters you work with. Because as of yesterday, Kev told me we work directly/indirectly with 64 podcasters, whether it be coaching or group coaching or producing their show.
About to be 65 here in the next day or so. Shout out to Jenna.
Well, here's the deal. How do we handle that? How do we do that? The way we do that is we simplify everything else. I asked Emilia, I said, because we woke up this morning and we said, I can't stand Q4. It's so much. It's so much. I said, how did we do this last year? And she said, last year we weren't nearly as focused on growing the businesses. That's so true. And so if you're out there watching or listening, you are not the only one overwhelmed. You're not. Everyone I coach is going, I have one person I'm thinking of, I would say 1 in every 3 sessions, he comes struggle bus. And then the next 2 after that are like rock and rolling, ramping up. I got this. I can do it. And then the third one is, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. And then it's like back to we redesign and then we go back to the drawing board. And so I just, hopefully for everyone, you are not the only person disappointed in how little you actually accomplish in a day. I'm accomplishing more than I've ever accomplished, genuinely, sincerely, focused on the urgent, important, significant things, the high-value activities, podcasting, coaching, training. My average is 50 a week. Average. There's a lot of seeds we're planting. That's a lot of momentum. That's a lot of growth. That's a lot of improvement. I've even been listening to some of my clips lately that the team is making. And I had a moment, and this only happens every once in a while, but when it does, it's really cool. And it was a clip where I was very passionate about the and I was like, wow, that was good. That was really strong oratory. That was a really strong speaker. That's a grown-ass man right there saying the truth about this. And those moments, you got to look for them because you are growing. And usually you're growing in tandem with struggle. And so anyone who does believe, and I'm just going to say this because I have to have courage to say this, anyone who does believe that you can achieve growth without struggle, it's inaccurate, I promise. I coach 26 individuals. They are absolutely killing it. A couple of them in particular, it's unreal. But every one of them behind the scenes is struggling and fighting for that next rep, struggling and fighting for that next iteration. They need to redesign. They need to simplify. They need to figure it out. They need to go back to the drawing board. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes. I woke up this morning feeling terrible because I worked too late, didn't get a good enough night's sleep, and then I looked at my day and I was like, I'm screwed. I have to can one with Kev. I got to move some stuff. And then I talked to Emilia. I said, we need to figure something out. But then I went over to the whiteboard. There's 27 days left in the year, and I updated every single day. I update how many days in a row of exercise, and I got to write 1,010. I actually was so exhausted, I wrote 10110 on accident. But I go to the whiteboard every day, and I update the number. I've exercised every day for 1,010 days. And here I am still telling everyone else I am struggling too. I'm not struggling with consistent exercise. I'm doing amazing at consistent exercise. I'm doing 10 out of 10, world class at consistent exercise. Am I doing world class at programming my specific weight training workouts and making sure I weight train exactly 5 times a week? No. Am I getting 3-hour workouts in? No. Am I running marathons on the side? No. I'm really good, 10 out of 10, unbelievably doing a good job at exercising consistently. And I'm doing a really good job at growing NLU. And I'm doing a really good job at probably nothing else. But those are the 2 most important things. And I'm doing a really good job at podcasting, coaching, and training. And so priorities are important. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and it's important to give yourself credit for what you're doing well. I think you're always going to be doing fewer things well than not well. You just think of like the breakdown of it. You're probably not going to be doing more things better than... You're probably not going to be more excited about the things you're doing. No, I don't want to say that. I think you can.
How many things are you doing well right now? Now, keep in mind, everyone, before he answers, this is the most productive, effective, capable version of Kevin that he's ever been. And he's probably doing well at like 3 things.
Man. I feel like I'm doing really well with NLPS. Like, I am just living in WhatsApp. I do not miss WhatsApp. 7 days a week, I batch WhatsApp. I do not miss ever. No matter what. So that's all client stuff, making sure clients are taken care of, being proactive with that, talking to the team. Ron and I talk. Ron's the director of Next Level Podcast Solutions. We talk every day in WhatsApp. We have conversations all the time. Like, we're always talking. I'm always talking to Ron. He must be so sick of me. So that's something. Fitness, I'm doing really well. I think I'm probably doing the best I've done in fitness since...
That changes your life, man. You are so unhappy when you're not doing well 100%. In fitness. I've observed you over the years. It's when you're winning in fitness, you feel so much better about Kevin.
Well, I think that's why, to me, it's like, could I do it in a different way? Could I do 30-minute workouts at home or something like that? Yeah, but it's not the same for me. It's not just about the time that I'm spending at the gym. It's about the time that it gives me back, like the energy it gives me back, the focus it gives me back, the fulfillment, the accomplishment, all that stuff. Like, that's a really big piece of it for me, for sure. My relationship has been great. Tara and I have been wonderful. We haven't been doing almost any dates, though. I could not tell you we went away. We went to family for Thanksgiving, so that was nice, but I could not tell you the last time Tara and I went out to dinner. I have no idea. I could not tell you. I'm not sure.
What do we say about dream chasing with this? Because one thing that I want to make very clear, I don't want this to be negative. I don't want our show to be negative. I just want it to be honest. And it's so different than... I had someone... I've been asking a lot about feedback lately from the team and different clients about the show, and I have clients that listen every single day. They've listened shout out to you guys. I mean, you listen every single day. They track it. And one of the things that was said, I mentioned on yesterday's episode, which was, it's very grounded self-improvement. And I said, what do you mean by grounded? And she said, it's real. It's not pie in the sky fluffy. It's not, we're not just talking about how dream big and do a vision board. Vision board's great.
Yep.
We're talking about what it really takes. I think that's what it comes down to. Are we just talking about what it actually takes? I can't tell you how many interviews. I watched an interview recently with Will Smith and Jay Shetty, and I regret watching it. It's nothing against either of them.
I don't like either of them, so it is
Okay,
for me.
you
It's
do
against
you.
both of them.
The point is they're not being super honest about what it actually took. They're not being purposely dishonest either, necessarily. And Will did talk a little bit about, like, you got to be disciplined. But that was it. After that, they started talking about manifestation and how you got to believe in it in order to achieve it. And they started talking about some different books that they like that I think are of value but very impractical. They're very impractical books, all the books they're talking about. Trust me, I've read them. I get it. You and I are doing something that I think is very unique. And it seems, for anyone out there watching or listening, you know there's something different. This is about what it really takes. Because everyone's sitting there going, well, wouldn't you go to dinner? Why can't you go to dinner with your wife? No, I can. But we're trying to build a business.
It's not the season.
Exactly.
And Taryn's been grinding too. She works later than I do some nights. She gets home at like 8 or 9 at night. What are we gonna? We're not gonna go to dinner at 9 o'clock at night. I'm already in bed.
What would you say to the version of Kev way back that would look at this life and think it's not wonderful? Because our life is so much better than it used to be.
It's
remember,
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain because my day-to-day is not... I do not have the freedoms that I once did to mess around and screw off. I don't have the fun, frolicky, just decide on a whim that I'm going to go do something. Like, that really doesn't exist. I told Taryn she was getting ready to leave for something, and I said, hey, babe, just FYI, it's almost 3:45. I know you got to go. And she said, it's almost 3:45? And I said, yeah. And I said, babe, one of the downsides of my schedule is I'm obsessed with time.
Yeah, I know.
And again, this is privileged. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I always know what time it is.
Speaking of which, we have 2 minutes.
I know. Yeah, trust me. That's why I interrupted you when you were asking. I would say this. If the dream that you're chasing really is the priority, it essentially puts everything else into perspective and helps you dictate the overall importance of it compared to the dream. That is the best way to put it. If Taryn came to me tomorrow and said, hey, I don't feel like we've been going on enough dates. Can we have a date day? Yes, I'll find a way to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find a way to make that happen. But I also know she's going through her own thing with the amount that she's been working, and she's probably not thinking about it either. She's going through her own journey of grind right now. So I think it just helps you understand that there is one main priority, and then everything else is a Tetris game of, is the downside of me letting go of this priority worth the potential momentum I'm going to lose / the potential joy, pleasure, maybe fulfillment I'm going to get from the activity? I know it's only 2 hours to go to the concert. I know. Yeah, it's only 2 hours. But for those 2 hours, you're not focused on the dream, most likely. That's up to you. That's totally up to you. I want to do a photo shoot next year. I just don't think it's time. I want to diet down and I want to do a photo shoot. I want to have a goal. I want to have a date goal. Kev, you're going to look this way by this date. I just don't think it's time because I can't prioritize that higher than I'm prioritizing the other stuff. It just doesn't, it's not time for that yet.
Yeah. Awesome conversation. And we kept it very real and grounded. And for anyone out there that is grinding and in a chapter where they need to stay focused and they feel overwhelmed, you're not alone. Trust me. And the very last thing, the reason why I mentioned the Will Smith Jay Shetty interview is because I only watched a little bit of it, but it was enough to go, Will is one of the most successful movie stars on planet Earth. And he made it sound easy in the interview. And I just think that's a disservice. It's not true. The dude used to say, back in the day, have you seen interviews where he's like, the other guy's eating and I'm working?
Yeah, no,
the other guy's
Will Smith. I don't watch Will Smith.
Well, back in the day, his interviews were much more honest. The other guy's eating and I'm working. The other guy's having fun and I'm working. The other guy, and now he's in a stage where he already achieved, what he achieved, and he's talking very differently. And I get it. It's just, don't forget what it really takes. That's my for myself, for Kev, for everyone listening or watching, like, don't forget what it really takes. Everything you want in this life that's of value you're gonna have to earn it every day.
100%. And if you want to earn it with us every single day, we do an episode every single day for that reason. Make sure you are subscribed on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Talk to you soon.